Hello and welcome. I'm glad to greeting you at our webinar. My name is Aleksandr. Hope you all in a good mood. And you are ready for interesting and inspiring session. Not long ago in November, we used to speak about our novelties, and today I'm going to summarize our scores for 2024 and speak about the most essential features and equipment we implemented. And the second part of our session, I will demonstrate you and shed more light on the roadmap for 2025, for our future developments, for our goals. So let's get started. We definitely start with our core data center switches. As you know, our headliner switch MES of 54 series. It is a MES 5440 rate, so that very often we receive many inquiries from our customers to implement some flexible solutions with different data characteristics for switches, and still we follow such requirements and implemented several switches in this lineup. As you see, MES 5300 40 rate, MES 5310 40 rate, and MES 5305 40 rate. Actually, the chipsets of this series are identical. As you see, the stuff of interfaces is also similar. These switches perform 40 rate 100 gigabit SFP plus interfaces and 600 gigabit QSFP20 rate interfaces for uplinks. The capacity of these switches also identical and ranges up to 2.16 terabit per second. And maybe you noticed some slight difference in such values like MAC table, ARP table, number of unicast IP4 routes, number of unicast IP6 routes. Yes, these are specially made for those to follow the requirements of our customers. Switches are also stackable up to 80 units. They perform redundancy by power supply. It is possible to install up to 2 hot swappable power modules, both for AC and DC power. So the solution showed itself very durable, very demanded, and very flexible. So in 2024, we also released a brand new data center switches like MES 550032 and MES 541040 rate, as I already mentioned it. The main peculiarity of these switches is that you can just adjust the airstream just right inside the rack. So this was made for the purpose of if you dispose rack and you need also to adjust airstream correctly, so that you can vice versa to direct your airstream from front to back, or just select the back to front method of air cooling. I should admit that another essential feature is a support for breakout modes also for these switches, so that 100 gigabit interface may be split for 4 streams on 25 gigabit. And 40 gigabit interfaces may be split up to 4 10 gigabit interfaces. As per aggregation switches, you may already know the very popular switch MES 340040 rate without any postfix. without any label. So that this year we elaborated it and supplied the switch with total 48 fiber interfaces, so it is marked by F label. As you see, this switch performs 176 gigabit per second throughput. It has 48 1 gig SFP interfaces and 10 gig SFP plus uplinks. This switch is also layer 3 performance and may carry up to 2 hot swappable AC or DC power supplies on board. Then our brand new solution for aggregation or maybe access, it's switches, so-called multi-gigabit switches. So MES 2410 or 8 DU and MES 2410 or 8 DP are those switches. As you mentioned, these switches are capable for 2.5 gigabit PoE, PoE plus, and even PoE++ interfaces. So this switch MES 2410 or 8 DU capable of all the mentioned types of PoE supply, so that it has strictly 90 watt per each interface of PoE support. And these switches also have 2 10 gig SFP plus interfaces. The average throughput ranges up to 8 gigabit per second. So the make table is 16K, and power supply, these switches have only one power supply unit. But still, you can just purchase them and test within your network. They will show you the uninterruptible networking as well as provide you all essential services. So of course we made some software elaborations. So I think the most demanded option for software, it's a implementation of hardware BFD for such models like MES 5332A, MES 53 series, X, MES 54 series, X, and MES 550032. Also, we developed some opportunities within EVPN and VXLAN technology. We added a DHCP relay over EVPN VXLAN feature. So, and furthermore, all our switches for aggregation and data or core switches will be supplied with these essential options. Then we go to service routers. So definitely you may be familiar with all our series, so ESR. It's a very popular series. All our routers are capable for building protective networks. They perform security. They contain some security options like firewalls, like IPS, IDS protection. Some of them may carry antivirus support. So the low-level segment, it's ESR 15VF, capable for only 600 megabit per second IMX traffic. It is supplied with 8 1 gig SFP interfaces and 2 1 gig copper interfaces and only 2 1 gig SFP interfaces. Then goes ESR 31. It is a middle segment device which is capable for 1 gig interfaces, for copper 6 1 gig SFP interfaces, 2 uplinks for 10 gig, and it is capable for more than 3.5 gigabit per second IMX traffic. Then go ESR 3200L and ESR 3300. As you see, these are more serious devices which are capable for IMX traffic, range from 9.9 gigabit per second up to more than 30 gigabit per second. On the headline of the series, on ESR 3300, you see for 25 gig SFP 20 rate interfaces, and it is supplied with 400 gig QSFP 20 rate interfaces. So it was a big leap to routing, to boost the acceleration means for routing. So you must take ESR 3300 and test it on your network. I definitely recommend you this serious device. So as per software direction, we also made some serious improvements and enhancements by building a cluster option and integrating it on ESR routers, so that the cluster provides redundancy for routers, for all routers which are connected in a cluster. It helps to synchronize the states for fast failover in case of some missing, in case of some failover occurs. Then we perform centralized cluster management for configuration and monitoring. All the configurations can be synchronized, and if you replace one router from the cluster, you don't need to reconfigure another one, so that the configuration will be applied instantly on the active router. Another essential option, it's WireGuard. You know, maybe this protocol is known as Advanced IPsec. So this VPN protocol also provides high speeds, and we totally reissued a firewall option, so that before we used static firewall, then we turned to dynamic firewall. So that means you don't need to overwrite all the settings on your ESR when applying some configurations on it. And I also introduced in November our new product. It's a virtual ESR. So this year it got all the features, all the capabilities as our hardware ones. So if you take any hardware router to compare it with virtual ESR, it resembles the same functions, the same capabilities. So, and we also added virtualization tools on it and improved some architecture means. We added interface driver support. We supported hard disk drivers like SCSI and SATA, and introduced Xen virtualization. And surely I also mentioned before our MPLS routers for backbone networks. These are ME series, and maybe you know our ME 5000 and 5001, 5200 routers, and these routers are the new generation of the mentioned before. So ME 51, 5210S and ME 2001, as you see, perform the throughput from 300 gigabit per second up to almost gigabits per second, 100 gigabit per second. Due to the interfaces, so 1610 gig SFP plus, 825 gig SFP 20 rate, and 200 gig QSFP 20 rate for ME 2001. It is also capable to carry AC or DC power supply on board within hot replacement or without interruption in its operation. And the series device ME5210S has 32 10 gig SFP interfaces and 600 gigabit QSFP 20 rate interfaces. Also capable to carry up to 2 hot swappable power supplies on board, and these devices take only 1 unit in rack. So definitely 4 major elaborations, 4 major enhancements have been made in the software for those routers. First, it's a BGP into ACE option, later B for MPLS service, because earlier we used option C, but option B is most demanded within operators, so that we added this feature on our ME routers. Then carrying support like CSC, then OSPF, ECCM multi-instance, and furthermore multicast VPN over RSVP traffic engineering. So it boosted much the productivity of our routers. So order them for testing and you will see it with your own eyes. Then definitely our main or maybe important branch of products, it's GPON equipment, and in this field we also made some giant leaps, like transition from simple PON to 10 GPON, so-called XGSPON. And here you can see terminals for LTX8 and LTX16. The main peculiarity of it that they may combine the technologies so that they may be connected to simple GPON or may use 10 gigabit GPON within the interfaces. So the LTX8 capable for to carry 1024 clients ONTs on board in simple GPON and 2048 clients for ONTs in 10 gigabit GPON mode, so in XGSPON. So and LTX16, 2000 and 4000 accordingly. This unit is supplied with 400 gig QSFP 20 rate interfaces, which satisfy all requirements for modern GPON networks. They equipped also with AC DC power supplies, which can be instantly replaced if in case of failure or in case of some accident on your network within power unit. As per software, we boosted web interface on our LTP8 and LTP16, and also for LTX8 and LTX16 OLTs. We implemented support for version 6 for all mentioned OLTs and introduced DHCP option, ET2 for these mentioned OLTs. So ECCM, you know that ECCM, it's a management system for all IoTeX equipment, not only for broadband, it also may control, may manage wireless, and so in total all the equipment for IoTeX may be managed by ECCM system. Key improvements in this field that we performed user authorization via LDAP and Microsoft Active Directory. We added event generation based on syslog, so-called fault management, and we supplied it with SSH terminal to easy management over your network. And our also fresh product, it's a control system of IoTeX equipment which resembles the similar system NAICE, ICE, or maybe it's familiar from Cisco. Its main features, as you see, it's a central policy storage for management, radius authentication for different types of users, segmentation and users division, and it's capable to work with radius-enabled devices from different vendors you apply in the network. Now we shall make a little pause. Maybe you have some questions. I will turn to my questions tab. Please ask me questions if any. Hello, friends. Hello. My greetings again. So don't be shy. Please supply me with your questions. So if currently there are no questions, let's proceed to the next step. It's a roadmap for 2025 and even for 2026. So I maybe sometime before I talked much about our industrial switches, so I shall remind you that they are extremely durable. They may withstand the temperatures from -40 to +80 centigrades. They are highly demanded within the projects, so that we decided to supply this lineup with brand new devices in 2025 and 2026. So meet such units like MES 3500I24F and 3500I8P8F. So this, maybe you noticed one of them, it's a 24F, it's a 1 unit size for installing into the rack, and the 8P8F, it's a unit which may be installed on DIN rail, and it shall take 4 units in a rack. The throughput of these switches ranges from 72 gigabit per second up to 128 gigabit per second. These switches also got some new features like 10 gig SFP plus interfaces. So before we used on the industrial switches only 1 gig fiber or copper interfaces, but these switches will have support for 10 gig. Then in 4th quarter we shall release MES 3510S or 8P. It will be supplied with precise time protocol, with synchronous Ethernet, and with redundancy protocols like seamless redundancy and parallel redundancy. So this type of redundancy is based on duplication of IP packets which are sent from device. And in 2nd quarter of 2026 we shall introduce MES 3510DS 24F, another unit which will have support for PTP, Sync-E, PRP and vESR. So it will have 16 SFP interfaces, then 8 1 gig combo copper interfaces, and 4 10 gigabit uplinks. So the throughput of the switch will reach the value of 128 gigabit per second. And additionally, we shall shed more light on our new announcements, maybe later in spring or in our summer sessions. So just watch us, follow us, and take our products in testing, recommend our products for your clients. So in core and data center switches segment, we are expecting a new model in third quarter, another one in third quarter of 26, and the late in fourth quarter 26. As you see, these switches have much more huge productivity. So the MES 570032 reaches the almost 30 terabit per second throughput. This was made to follow the demand of high loaded networks, and as you see, the artificial intelligence is developing with a very extremely, so that we need to invent, to integrate more complicated devices with huge throughput. So these switches, as usual, will be stackable, will be durable, will have support for redundant power supplies for AC and DC power as well. So of course, multi-gigabit switches should follow the tendency, and we will have some new devices in this field, which are expected in third quarter of 2025. They are MES 2420D, 24DP, and 2310, 48DP for 24 and 48 PoE ports accordingly. Within the youngest model for 24 interfaces has 4 10 gig SFP interfaces, and 48, the senior model, is capable for 425 gig uplink SFP 28 interfaces. The throughput ranges from 20 gigabit per second up to 440 gigabit per second. The PoE budget ranges from 740 watt up to almost 1.5 kilowatt. Also, switches may carry AC and DC power supplies, and definitely they may have support for stacking option. So as per roadmap for the following series of switches like MES 23, 3300X, 3500 or8 and 10P, 5332A, 53 series X, 5455 zeros X series, and finally MES 541048. We shall have such useful feature like DCB, including cut-through switching. Then we supply our switches with non-stop forwarding on layer 2 for STP, LACP, and IGMP protocols. We will integrate MPLS layer 3 VPN option. We shall instantly boost it in PBR in virtual and routing forwarding option in third quarter of 2025, and non-stop forwarding for layer 3 for the following protocols like OSPF, VRP will be implemented either for all mentioned switches. So then we go in next, and in fourth quarter of 2025, as I mentioned before, the synchronous Ethernet shall be implemented for industrial switches of 3510S or 8P and 3510DS24F. A parallel redundancy option shall be suit on the switches either then in first quarter of 26. Such protocol like 1588 version 2, it is also known as precise time protocol, will also be implemented on the mentioned switches, along with high availability seamless redundancy HSR. And finally, in third quarter of 2026, the final stage of integration of PRP and vESR, and all the time protocols shall be put on the switches. For MES24 series, for 24X series, for 34 and for 37 series, we shall introduce useful options to operate in stack. So as you see from the scale, in third quarter of 2025, they will be supplied with OSPF in stack, with RP-VST in stack, with DHCP snooping in stack, with IP source guard in stack. In third quarter, they will get dying gasp in stack, port isolation, Q&Q, IGMP snooping in stack, and more and more options. Also, for fourth quarter of 2025, such options like GVIP in stack, IPv6 in stack, non-stop forwarding in stack, dynamic ACL, IP version 6 NDP in stack. All these features we also have wide integration on the mentioned routers or switches. Sorry. Then we shall proceed to roadmap for service routers, as you already deal with ESRs, and I mentioned ESRs many times today. So meet our new developments for second quarter of 2025. You see ESR 3250 and ESR 3350. The routers will support 25 gig interfaces and even 5 gig SFP56 interfaces. They will definitely have AC and DC power supplies, hot swappable, and these routers shall take 1 unit in a rack. So they are very flexible, very convenient, and do not eat the space in the rack. Then the roadmap for ESRs in first quarter of 2025. It's a bidirectional forwarding for RIPE protocol, GRE over IPsec with VRP. Then configure unit active standby services in cluster for VRF. In second quarter, we shall implement active mode with VRP protocol for cluster. Then bidirectional forwarding for VRP also. We started, I should mention, it's a serious development. It's a next-gen firewall. So such functionality like BGP, flow spats, GeoIP, and DNS named in SRC DST address firewall are next-gen firewall options, which will have implementation this year. And adding of these options will boost the sphere of implementation for our routers. We will be more competitive with Cisco, with Huawei, with other vendors in routing. So in third quarter of 2025, we shall boost PAM-SM, MPLS cores. Then in third quarter of 2025, we elaborate our cluster for ESRs to use it in active mode without VRP. So it will be our fully 1+1 cluster. And finally, in first quarter of 2026, such functionality like MPLS ECMP, HTTP proxy are also next-gen firewall option, and active without VRP for more than 2 units in cluster. So that let to use cluster for more ESRs in coupling. I can't admit the exact amount of ESR clustering for this moment, but I hope it will reach more than 10 units. Then for virtual ESR, we shall implement auto-binding interfaces, supports for recovery tools, for serial support, for SD-ROM support, for ZTP, and in first quarter of 2026, we shall implement many cloud services. We shall integrate cloud support for networking, for Broadcom network card, for Yandex Cloud, and many more. So today also mentioned backbone routers of ME5000 series, the predecessors of ME6000 series. So you see that's a device, chassis-based one, with the possibility to integrate up to 8 slots for line cards with different types of interfaces for 100 gig and for 25 gig. The total throughput may reach the value up to 20 terabit per second, but it still have the huge size, so the 15 units in rack. And often we receive demand from clients to reduce the number of units for these service routers. And we started to develop ME7000 series. This will be also modular routers, but with reduced size. They will take only 2 or 3 units in rack, but they still are going to keep the productivity, keep the hardware means to ensure uninterruptible routing within MPLS services. So as per roadmap, as you see in first quarter of 2025, some protocols like precise time protocol for ME2001 and ME51S shall be added, layer 3 VPN multipath in second quarter, filtering for inter-VRF routing in third quarter, routed VPLS, layer 2 VPN tunnel selection, and in fourth quarter of 2025, the most important option, it's EVPN multi-homing. Then you see the roadmap for 2026. So MPLS ACLs, IP version 6 multicast. So lots of protocols to boost multicast option on ME series routers will be added. Then in fourth quarter of 2026, layer 2 protocol tunneling, software-based NetFlow, so on this slide you definitely see GPON devices. Earlier I also touched about already implemented units, and here you can see LTX 8C and LTX 16C. C letter means that these units shall have combo ports within their interfaces for 8 and 16, PCS accordingly. Then they will have support for 25 and 100 gig interfaces, and also in terms of application, they will be deployed on simple GPON networks as well as on 10 gigabit GPON networks, so-called XGSPON. So the number of ONTs can be connected to these devices ranges from 1,000 to 4,000, accordingly for LTX 8C and LTX 16C. And later in third quarter of 2025, some new modular devices like MA5020 and 5160 will appear And the capacity of these OLTs ranges from 4K up to 60K ONTs can be connected to these units. So as per size, MA5020 shall take 2 units in rack, and MA5160, it's a huge chassis device, will take 11 units in rack. As per PON roadmap, we shall have some essential add-ins in second quarter, like dying gas, like web interface on LTP and LTX OLTs. Then in third quarter, we will elaborate functionality for our new MA5160. It will get an important boost in capabilities, as you see. And in fourth quarter of 2025, we shall implement storm control for LTP and LTX, then selective Q&Q, and lots of other important options. So as per ECCM management system, we shall do lots of works in wireless sector. We shall support monitoring, we shall support fault management, we shall implement troubleshooting. In second quarter, we shall adopt ME5000 series for ECCM functionality. In third quarter of 2025, along with release of ME6008, monitoring for these devices will also be added in ECCM functionality. And in fourth quarter of 2025, a high-level configuration for mesh switches for all of lineups will be added into ECCM. And in NAICE system, also a software system for user management, we shall add TechX, we shall supply it with web portal authentication, we shall boost radius, we shall synchronize devices with ECCM, so we add a BIOD and then a single one for web API like LDAP or MSAD. Well, we are on the final step of our webinar. Now I shall turn to questions field, and I hope there are some questions for me, so don't be shy, ask me questions. 340048F, it's a layer 3 switch. Yes, it is fully layer 3 switch. It supports all protocols like RIP, OSPF, BGP. It is stackable, and as you see on the roadmap, it will be boosted by lots of stacking options in 2025 and even 2026. Yes, stacking option available. How much time needed for cluster switching? So if some failure occurs on your network, and if in case of ESR, cluster is deployed on it, the switching occurs instantly. So you do not even notice any interruption in services. They will continue working without any stop. MA6008, what cases of implementation? So you can definitely use it on all segment of the network. You can just dispose it and use like a single router, but mostly I should recommend you to use it in MPLS aggregation or in MPLS core. If you're interested in such solutions, you can just ask our managers, and we shall supply some brochure for you that you can check all the types of deployment for this unit. So summarizing the mentioned the said today, I should state that we did a lot of work in 2024. We implemented lots of solutions, both for hardware and software. We shall continue do harsh work in 2025. We definitely should follow our roadmaps and stay with us. Use our equipment, recommend our equipment to your customers, and remember, good networking is good networking. Thank you for your attention. See you soon. Goodbye.